part of our strategy for years and will continue to be. Our focus is
Bueno,
on
aquí
how
está,
do we
señores.
continue to grow the game
Están hablando, vamos a
by
ver.
reaching more players in more places, and how do we grow Xbox as part of that. Xbox is a hardware platform, Xbox is a publisher of great games, and Xbox as a platform for the world's best creators.
As you were talking about growth, it's just that we've sort of seen this inversion over the last 5 years where it used to be that the platform was the biggest thing.
That's right.
And the games would sort of tuck in within the platform. Today, big games like a Roblox or a Fortnite could actually be bigger than any one platform. And that really has changed the way that we think about things. So in the midst of all that, I think we at First Party can come back to sort of some core principles. First, that all of our games will be on the Xbox platform. Second, all of our games will go into Game Pass on day one. And third, we know that Game Pass will only be available on Xbox. So there's sort of starting points for us.
Son los puntos de partida, según ellos.
Today that you can play that only can be found on Xbox. And at the same time, we want to bring more of our games to more players. So we're going to continue to look at that. Kind of moving aside, though, from some of those and thinking more about what does it really mean for the player, to me, the two key things are cross-play and cross-save. Those things allow us to deliver on the promise of Xbox, which is play with your friends where they are, play on the devices you want, play the games you want. So that is really only possible at a practical level when you know that your saves and your player are going to be able to move across all those parts. So not all of our games today are necessarily built to take advantage of that. There still will be some games that don't. As we bring more teams into the Xbox family, there's some catch up to do as we get there. But that cross-play, cross-save is like so fundamental to what we're doing, and I think is something that we as First Party get such a good benefit from being so close to the platform.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's one of the things, like you said, all of our games are always in Game Pass. And so I'm excited to announce, you know, with the coming together that we had with Activision Blizzard King, that Activision and Blizzard games are coming to Game Pass, starting with Diablo 4 on March 28th, which I'm super excited to share today. And it's all part of our commitment to make Xbox experience and the games that we build as widely available as possible. So now the 34 million Game Pass members can all enjoy the fantastic experience of Diablo 4.
Amazing. Can we come back to the point, Phil, you mentioned at the top this isn't really a change in strategy for us. Can you recap for me how it isn't?
Yeah, and I thought both Matt and Sarah did a really nice job of talking about what we're doing on Xbox, where we're going. You know, if you take a platform feature like Xbox Play Anywhere, which has been a promise that we've made on our first-party games, that you can buy our game once, you're going to get play across Xbox and Windows. I think we're the only platform that does this. That makes it possible for you not only to play with your friends wherever they are, but to know that you actually have multiple entitlements to the games. I think that's a technology I would love to see applied to more platforms. But it is this view that people are going to play Xbox in multiple places. Whether it's playing
siguiendo vuelta al asunto. Vamos a ver.
Whether it's content community in cloud, whether it's when everybody plays, we all win. Like, we've had different taglines, different strategy, kind of words that we've used, but always with this view that Xbox is a platform for creators who want to reach the most players. Our investments in xCloud, our investments in franchises like Minecraft and now Call of Duty and other.
Ahora viene y entra Jim Ryan por ahí.
How to build those. This has been a strategy that we've been on for, I'd say, a decade. It's not about one device. It's not about games and
Call of Duty también es otra franquicia que va a salir en más plataformas porque les obligaron durante el juicio.
That people want to play on should be in service of making the games as big and popular as they possibly could be. Because really, a healthy creator community on Xbox, a healthy creator community in gaming all up, is the thing that all of us as game players should be voting for, because that's the thing that will lead to the best long-term success and growth in this industry.
And my understanding just from listening and learning from you three over the past few weeks, just understanding what's happening with Xbox is that we see trends with player behavior where people are playing on multiple devices. That is the reality. And we have
hablando de los devices, de que la gente juega en diferentes devices, dispositivos.
My understanding is that that's been good for players. How does that come
que
back
están tratando de
to the
llegar a más jugadores.
Yeah, as you said, we have shipped games on other platforms. In fact, realistically, if you look with the addition of Activision and Blizzard and ZeniMax, we're one of the largest game publishers.
Yo le digo rápido, ¿vas a hacer plataforma o no vas a hacer multiplataforma?
Nintendo Switch, especially when you put Minecraft into the equation as well. Now we're one of the largest publishers.
Exacto. Para que gague.
Not something that we want to back away from. We want to continue to be building great games that millions and millions of people can love.
Sí.
And that they can
Pasa que después de los 10 minutos que ganas dinero en YouTube, así que nos van a tener 10 minutos hablando caca,
dando
para que
lata
después,
y dándole vuelta al asunto.
Después de los 10 minutos empezar a monetizar.
The system today, the system that all companies.
Déjate, vas a ver el primer anuncio a los 10 minutos.
No digas eso, porque entonces los Xbox van a comenzar a decir que a Microsoft no le hace falta el dinero, no necesitan estar más de 10 minutos en el aire para monetizar.
Bueno.
I want to make sure Xbox is in the best position for the next 20 years. That means healthy player community, healthy creator community, and healthy business. So when we look at opportunities to allow more people to play,
si él lleva 20 años en
Xbox, more people to buy, more people to subscribe,
desde el principio él está ahí.
It's all about putting Xbox.
No como se llevó, pero sí.
Hardware is a critical component of that. The absolute best experience.
Habla del hardware también,
Somebody
sí, para aclarar un poco las voces que decían.
Your team builds and that people play on, but that's not going to be everybody. We fully accepted that we're going to have Xbox players across all kinds of devices.
So I think a lot of people think about 2023 as this incredible year for gaming, and in a lot of ways it was. There was some really amazing releases that I think we all enjoyed. But what were the signals behind the scenes that maybe indicated how we wanted to look at the future of Xbox and how we kind of keep up with the industry?
Yeah, such a good question. And I think it's, as people who care about the industry, which I assume is people who are watching this, it was an amazing year. Some great launches, some of the games that I think will stand the test of time and people will be talking about a decade from now. But it's an industry that didn't really grow.
Hombre.
And what happens when an industry doesn't
grow?
Cuando
despides 2,000 personas,
some job eliminations, which we have.
¿Verdad? Cuando despides a 2,000 personas.
El tema, bueno.
Claro, sí, pero tú no me puedes decir a mí de una compañía que no ha crecido.
In that. When you think about a healthy industry,
pero despidió a 20 y pico personas.
That they will find the best games on the platforms that they love. I want people who invest their careers in working here to feel like this is a place that they can be successful. And that really is down to being part of an industry that is growing. If you listen to Lisa Su, the AMD CEO, she'll say that AMD-powered consoles are likely to decline in 2024. I think there's an amazing set of games coming in 2024, but if we don't get
Lo único que entendí fue que la tarjeta le dio decline.
The industry will struggle. And today there's really two choices on how do you grow the industry. Do you say I have a fixed number of players that we have today, and do I find new ways to monetize those players to get more money from the players that I have? Or do you think about how do I expand the business I have by finding new players and adding those?
La Xbox Black Card no le sirvió ya, no le funciona.
For the last decade has really been on that latter point of how do we make sure Xbox is growing for our players, growing for our creators, so those people are finding success on our platform, which will grow the Xbox business and put Xbox in a position to be very strong for years and decades to come.
Matt, earlier you were talking about these growing gaming communities, how they're incredibly large, and comparable on such a different level when we think about console audiences. Like you mentioned Roblox, you mentioned Fortnite. So how are we're obviously thinking about our responsibility, our hardware responsibility is supporting the growth of gaming communities. How has that actually shown up for the players? Are there other games we can speak to from our portfolio?
Well, as Phil mentioned, I mean, two of the biggest ones for us, Call of Duty and Minecraft, I mean, they are driven just from the bottom up by the communities of people that play those games, which is so great. I think about it for the player community, it comes down to where are the friends, where are the people you play with, and then equally important is where have you built up your library.
Pues como cuando yo tengo mi PlayStation, mis amigos están en Xbox.
I think those two things probably are some of the biggest influences on where people choose to play and what devices they choose to play.
Yeah.
When we think about on the other side, the developer side, just any game developer wants their game to find the biggest audience possible. That's just the nature of building.
Sí, pero me estás hablando de dos juegos que obviamente ya tienen su fanbase.
Ya son, exacto.
Y ya están posicionados.
Y que comenzaron siendo multiplataformas antes de que fueran de Xbox.
Claro.
Porque Moyan era independiente y Xbox lo adquirió.
Definitivamente.
Igual que,
entonces yo entiendo que deben salirse de ahí. No te quedes en dos juegos que ya estaban, que ya están y que ya estarán, porque son juegos que están sumamente sólidos.
Papi, pero primero, mira, tan suavecito. Tan suavecito, porque si le dicen todo el cantazo a la gente, van a morir aquí. Están usando palabras bonitas, están diciendo mucho plataformas. Están diciendo dispositivos,
hardware, que obviamente volvemos a lo mismo, no le vamos a quitar ningún tipo de mérito a las consolas de Microsoft. Son unos maquinones, eso no lo podemos pasar por alto. O sea, vamos, no hay competencia para eso. El problema de todo esto son los juegos y la calidad de gráficos, mano, en una máquina tan potente, por favor.
Los problemas con los juegos, resumirlo así.
Exacto. Y no es que seamos haters de Xbox, es que si no me utilizas, claro, si no me utilizas la máquina a su 100% de capacidad, ¿de qué te vale? Entonces, pues no me queda de otra que hablar de una consola barata, que no supera en ninguna de las expectativas a Xbox Series y da lo mejor. No importa que los juegos sean una película, es que son jugables, son entretenidos y tú estás horas pegado a esos juegos.
Sí, que esa es la idea. No todo el tiempo es un first person shooter.
Claro, ni tampoco es un juego online. O sea,
exacto.
Todo el mundo
quieres
sabe
disfrutar,
lo que es online, tú sabes.
salir de tu trabajo, entretenerte, disfrutar un ratito antes de acostarte.
So we're talking about the role that hardware plays for creators, for the games and those communities. What about the role that hardware plays for us as a business, for Xbox?
Ahí van a hablar, mira, de los hardware de la empresa.
It really is, and Phil said this earlier, it's where you get like the most flagship seminal experience of Xbox. And it also represents a developer target. Our developers can build the specs of our hardware, and we invest to make sure they know when they do that the games are going to run great on our hardware, but they're also going to be able to be accessed across any screen because of all the other investments we make. So we're giving them an easy way to access as many players as possible. And we actually have more creators right now building for Xbox than ever before by nature, thousands of them by nature of those investments. And we got more to come. There's some exciting stuff coming out in hardware that we're going to share this holiday. And we're also invested in the next generation roadmap. And what we're really focused on there is delivering the largest technical leap you will have ever seen in a hardware generation, which makes it better for players and better for creators and the visions that they're building.
Está hablando de hardware,
and then when we're talking about hardware, too, there's other considerations that are really important to our community, probably to each one of ourselves as well. When you talk about library, because I want to dig in on that a little bit more, you know, as we talk about cloud in the wider entertainment industry, there's conversations about streaming. How is that impacting how I own my content that I've invested in? So what can we say about our stance around game preservation?
Yeah, you know, one of the highlights for me
de la caza.
of being in this position was getting to stand on stage when we announced back-to-back coming to Xbox One. Like, it was fantastic. People were reading the teleprompter before I could read it. Slow reader, and just feeling the energy in the auditorium as we were saying that and online. You know, one of the cues I think us as being part of Microsoft take is looking at Windows and how Windows over decades has maintained software compatibility with things that are built on it. Like, I can still go back and play some of the games that I love playing on Windows from decades ago, and it will still run. And we try to bring that same view to consoles. It's harder in console because the line between what the hardware is and what the game is in consoles is traditionally, it's tighter, which makes compatibility, you end up doing these generational compatibilities that we've built. But I will say,
es decir, que vamos a tratar de utilizar las consolas como si fueran PC y tú puedas jugar cualquier juego en cualquier consola como si fuera cualquier PC. Eso es lo que quiere decir.
Sí, es definitivamente lo que está diciendo. Trayendo
entre palabras bonitas, lo está disfrazando.
Trayendo lo nostálgico para que pueda ser compatible. Siempre se ha podido hacer en la PC. Siempre. Por eso la gente prefiere tener una PC en vez de tener una Xbox Series. ¿O no?
Exacto. Cállate, diga eso.
And the fact that you get entitlements when you buy a game from us on both Windows and Xbox also means you have the ability to play that game across a multitude of devices, which I think furthers the compatibility of the game.
Pero
Can we
me
go
estás
back
hablando
to
lo mismo.
what Xbox
Ya
is
sabemos que
today?
puedes
I think we've
utilizar
pretty much covered
los
all
juegos
the
en diferentes
elements, but if you could break it
dispositivos.
down for me.
You know, when you
Que diga el
play on
maldito nombre.
Xbox, what we're saying is you're playing on a platform
No, lo bloquea
where you
YouTube.
know the biggest games in the world are always going to
Lo
be.
banea.
You're playing on a platform where you get to access Game Pass.
Volvemos
And
a los mismos
all
títulos.
of
Tú
the
estás viendo
games from our
Roblox,
incredible range of
Minecraft.
studios
Sí.
will
¿Y
always
qué vamos a ver
launch in
ahora?
Game
Call of Duty.
Pass day
Déjame ver.
one. And you're playing on a platform that's dedicated to you, like player-first features, cross-play,
Escucha.
cross-progression, backwards compatibility, being able to play your games in your library anywhere you want because of the investments that we make in cloud gaming. And so you're playing somewhere where you're investing and you know you get to take the games forward with you and across all of the screens where you are. And I think most importantly, Xbox is a place where you know when you're investing in Xbox, you're investing somewhere that is dedicated to making games more successful and creators more successful.
Pero él lo tiene, lo acaba de
so that they
decir,
can invest more to bring even
invirtiendo,
better experiences to you
jugando
all
los
the time.
juegos en donde estás invirtiendo tu
that
dinero.
investment in the studios
Ahí
is
está.
so, and we feel that as part of first party with the platform proximity. You know, it's
Lo
kind
estás
of amazing
adornando,
now to
papi.
look out across all the studios we've got.
Esto es
and
como la luna de
just
miel,
be
primero,
reminded
papi,
that we're now one
con
of the
calma.
biggest development organizations in the industry. What does that mean for players? It means that the biggest games are going to continue to come to Xbox. And this 2024, the year coming up, we've got more than 10 major releases coming up. Great stuff.
dónde están?
Hellblade 2. We've got Diablo expansion. We've got Avowed, Ara, the Indiana Jones game. And there's more in development, which I think we're going to be able to share more about at our June showcase coming up pretty soon.
Well, I
No,
guess
me
I
dijiste
should get
10.
ready to work on that.
Dijo 10 y masticó ahí como 5 nada más o menos.
Te digo, por eso te dije
Today,
masticado.
and we'll see the rest of you this June.
Thanks, Tina.
Thank you.
Pues ya estaría.
Entonces, mira
Pues
mira
estaría,
este corto.
efectivamente.
Mira
¿Pero
este
qué,
corto-
ya?
Sí, ya.
Bueno,
Mira este
como
corto anuncio.
resumen,
Mira, perdóname, mira esta corta presentación.
era cierto.
Donde estamos viendo que le han dado vuelta a lo mismo y las mismas palabras, el mismo
Nos dejaron
contenido,
igual.
y están contestando las preguntas con las mismas contestaciones. Diferentes preguntas, mismas contestaciones. Lo que tú mencionaste ahorita, Carlito. Las palabras utilizadas, la más utilizada, hardware, plataforma. Dime qué más. O sea, no hablaron, no dijeron nada. Entonces,
No dijo
la
nada.
la parte
Papi, los
importante-
dejaron igual que si no hubiesen tirado el video.
No, pero vamos al punto. La parte importante de esto fue cuando ya mencionó donde tú puedes jugar los juegos en donde
Que estás invirtiendo tu dinero.
Exactamente.
Ajá.
Si yo estoy invirtiendo en el Steam Deck, pues puedes jugar los juegos de Game Pass ahí. Si estás invirtiendo en el Play 5, puedo utilizar los juegos de Game Pass ahí. Y etcétera, etcétera.
Sí, pero el punto es que no llegaron a no mencionarlo por su boquita de comer.
nos
Como que, mira, vamos
aclararon
para Play
nada.
5. No
Exacto.
dijeron nada.
No nos
Solo están
aclararon
dejando
nada.
igual.
Sí, quedamos igual. Entonces, son 10 de los juegos que van a salir en el 2024, donde te vamos a estar dando los anuncios en junio. ¿Qué nos falta? 4 meses, 3 meses. Entonces, me estás hablando de 4 o 5 títulos que están masticando con la muela de atrás porque todavía no se sabe lo que va a pasar con esos títulos cuando salgan a la plataforma. Entonces, no me hablaste ni me mencionaste tampoco nada de otro hardware, o sea, de otra máquina
By the fact
nueva
that I'm joined by
o de
Phil,
alguna
Sarah,
otra
and Matt,
máquina
welcome. And we're
que
going
sea
to talk
posible que
about
venga,
some
porque
updates
ya
at Xbox. We
entiendo
want to talk
que
about
no
game
van a
exclusivity.
trabajar más
We want to talk
máquinas.
about Activision
No
Blizzard,
sé,
now
mira,
that they're
Tita,
part of our
no sé, vamos
portfolio,
a check.
how that might be an impact
si
on
acaso
Game
pasamos
Pass.
algo
And
por
we want to talk about
alto.
hardware too and how all of this fits into the strategy at Xbox. So where should we start, Phil?
Well, when we originally had planned for the show, starting back in December, I think we probably would have started with Activision Blizzard, maybe talked a little bit about the exclusivity with some of the news coming up, and then hardware. But we've had some unforeseen news that has come out. So let's just go into
no,
the
JN,
exclusivity
dijeron como que
question,
viene algo más
'cause
por
I
ahí,
know
mencionaron
it's
algo
on the
más, no
minds
es la
of a lot of
última.
people. We hear from the community, and that's an important input for us. So we made the decision that we're going to take 4 games to the other consoles. Just 4 games. Not
4
a change to our kind of fundamental exclusive strategy.
4 games.
It is, we're making these decisions for some specific reasons. We make every decision really with the long-term health of Xbox in mind. And long-term health of Xbox means a growing
Van a tirar
platform,
4 y yo creo que
our
eso va a
games
ser para ver
performing,
cómo se
building
mueven.
the best platform for creators, reaching as many players as we can. We're always looking to learn as a leadership team and to grow. And we think this is an interesting point in time for us to use what some of the other platforms have right now to help grow our franchises. So we're going to do that.
So these 4 titles, what are they? Can you say?
I'm not going to name those games. The teams that are building those games have announced plans that are not too far away. As we know, game teams put a lot of energy into their announcements with the partners. So I don't want to take anything away from those teams. So I won't be talking about
Hi-Fi Rush, se llama Starfield,
when they come out,
se llama...
It'll make sense.
Can we say if either of those titles are Starfield or Indiana Jones?
They are not Starfield or Indiana Jones.
Well, what was the criteria in how the team was thinking about selecting those 4 titles?
Let me start a little bit outside of that, and then I'll get to the 4 specific
games. No entiendo el misterio de por qué carajo puede decir los 4 juegos.
The fundamental decision driver for any decision that we make, anything we're going to talk about today, that we're running a growing platform that has more players, that our games are having as much success as possible.
Mira.
I just have a fundamental belief that over the next 5 years,
ya te lo dijeron.
Exclusive games,
Halo,
games
Forza,
exclusive to one piece of hardware are going to be a smaller and smaller part of the game industry. And that's not some great insight, because if you look at the last 10 years and what the biggest games are today, it's a natural place. Whether it's one console and PC, multiple consoles, mobile console and PC, you see big games landing on multiple platforms. And we want to be a great platform for creators that are trying to realize that potential. But now back to the specifics of the question on these four specific titles. We looked at games that are over a year old. So they've been on Xbox and PC for a while. A couple of the games are community-driven games, new games that kind of first iterations of a franchise that have reached their full potential, let's say, on Xbox and PC. There's always growth. Franchises that we obviously want to continue to invest in. Part of having the ability to continue to invest is that the businesses behind those franchises continue. We think it's important that these service-based games that have communities behind them, that they can have confidence that they're going to exist in the future. So 2 of them kind of community-driven games that will end up on other platforms.
Y Jafi, él está hablando como que van a seguir trabajando con estas franquicias que como que voy a resumirlo en mis palabras, como que anteriormente ya eran multiplataforma, entonces se han visto afectadas al ser limitadas solamente al ecosistema de Xbox, porque ellos no tienen el auge que ellos esperaban que iba a tener. Por ejemplo, Bethesda dentro de Xbox, si tirara exclusivo todo su contenido, no va a vender jamás y nunca como vendía antes.
Exactamente.
Entonces eso es una locura. Entonces, por lo que nos está dando a entender aquí, en palabras bonitas él, porque él adorna todo, es como si fuese que, papi, vamos a esperar, los juegos de Bethesda vienen para todas las consolas obligados. Todos los juegos de Bethesda vienen para todas las consolas obligados porque tienen que recuperar ese dinero, porque esas compañías de años atrás, ¿sabes?, antes de que ellos las adquirieran, ganaban bastante bien, pero al estar dentro de Xbox ya no están ganando lo mismo.
Ya no están ganando lo mismo, exactamente.
Y hay que recuperar, papi. Exacto. Esto es un juego de monopolio.
Es negocio, exactamente. Es negocio. Y necesitan obviamente recuperar. Por eso fue que me sorprendió lo que te estaba diciendo ahorita, hablando mucho de la estabilidad cuando hubieron tantos despidos, mano, en los últimos 2 años. Fueron masivos. Y no podemos pasar eso por alto. O sea, esos son datos. Entonces ellos están hablando de solidificar y de recuperar toda esa masa que han perdido a nivel, ¿verdad? A nivel líquido.
Masa encefálica.
A recuperar. Sí, de verdad, honestamente.
Mira, vamos a ver qué más dice el tío.
And give us the ability to continue to invest in them. We think that's great for the business and great for the communities. More players to play with. I'd say 2 of the other games are smaller games
that
were never really meant to be built as kind of platform exclusives and all the fanfare that goes around that. Games that our teams really wanted to go build, that we love supporting creative endeavors across our studios, regardless of size. And as they've realized their full potential on Xbox and PC, we see an opportunity to utilize the other platforms as a place to just
no los mencionan.
More business value out of those
Está como cuando Tempo le tiraba a esta gente balas locas que no los mencionaba.
Iterations of those, so sequels to those, or just other games like that in our portfolio. And when we don't damage Xbox and we can grow our business using what other platforms have and to help us with that, we're going to do that.
Él se ve incómodo cuando habla de other platforms. Se ve incómodo, como si los ejecutivos de Microsoft le hubieran dicho, papi, tienes que decirlo.
there is an interesting story for us of introducing Xbox franchises to players on other.
El lenguaje corporal cuando habla de plataformas.
Lo que pasa es que es obvio que tenga que defender, obviamente, ante estas preguntas, que acuérdense que estas son preguntas que ya fueron entregadas a él para que él supiera que iba a contestar. Obviamente, son en vivo. Pero tiene que defender los intereses también. Es algo que no podemos obviar.
So when you are thinking about the future and this concept of live service games that can benefit from bigger audiences, new audiences, how does that apply to future titles and how you're applying that criteria there?
Yeah, there's really no fundamental change to how we think about exclusivity. We just came out of Developer Direct, which was an awesome show, where we showed great games that are coming to Xbox, and PC, and
Indiana
cloud,
Jones,
which really makes them accessible to hundreds of millions of people. So it's just kind of
el otro, el de Hi-Fi Rush, que lo habían anunciado que sí que iba.
But our key of play the games you want with the people you want, anywhere you want, when everybody plays, we all win. These have been part of our strategy for years and will continue to be. Our focus is on how do we continue to grow the games industry by reaching more players in more places, and how do we grow Xbox. Xbox is a hardware platform. Xbox is a publisher of great games, and Xbox is a platform for the world's best creators.
And then knowing that, how do we think about our first-party games and Game Pass?
No, ¿verdad? Pero no van a ser juegos exclusivos. Es lo que está pasando.
Exacto.
Ellos van a continuar desarrollando juegos para un montón de plataformas. Claro, no van a mencionar su competencia. Obviamente porque tiene que velar por los intereses. Por eso tuve que sigan utilizando obviamente las mismas palabras, plataforma, Microsoft, diferentes plataformas. Ya tuviste que eso se menciona montones de veces, las podemos enumerar si quieres. Un montón
como
de
dándole
veces.
vueltita.
Claro. Y solamente están hablando de 4 juegos de 10 que supuestamente vienen. Y cuando ellos hablan de
los 10 juegos.
Exacto, cuando ellos hablan del desarrollo de estos juegos, no me da una buena espina.
Te mencionó como 3 buenos y no mencionó más ninguno.
No, porque se ve, como tú estás mencionando, su movimiento y su acción corporal estaba diciendo algo que no va conforme a lo que está hablando, ¿verdad? Verbalmente. Hay que esperar entonces a junio a ver cuáles son supuestamente esos 10 juegos que van a salir que van a impactar obviamente a la comunidad exactamente de Xbox, y estar al pendiente porque aquí nos dejaron igual, mano, de verdad, honestamente. Si alguien tiene o si alguien lo ha visto y nos puede dejar en los comentarios si se nos pasó algo que no pudimos atender fuera de lo que nos dejaron igual, nos quedamos igual. Pues entonces, mira, déjanos saber por ahí por los comentarios para yo lo voy a volver a ver de nuevo para ver qué extracto podemos sacar para obviamente lo que son los reels y obviamente los comentarios que podemos hacer más adelante, pero nos quedamos igual. Me hablaste de que sí, que vamos a tener juegos de Xbox en todas las plataformas. Ya lo sabíamos.
¡Qué porquería! Ay, Dios mío. Haciéndome gastar el tiempo. Yo adelantando todas las cosas durante el día para venir acá. Yo sé que no fui el único.
Pues habla contigo que nos devuelve el tiempo. Que nos pague el
clase? Nos cogieron de zángano. Chacho, papi. Nada, vamos a ver si a la noche Iván el Giga está con nosotros. Vamos a ver qué me dice. Si no, en la semana cuadramos con él. Así que nada, papi. Gracias por estar por ahí, Jafi.
Claro, siempre, brother. Esto es Cultura Gamer y
decimos hasta la próxima.